Teachers are supposed to be the ones in charge of the classroom, setting rules, giving instructions, and ensuring that students learn. But every now and then, a clever student comes up with a response so witty, creative, or downright hilarious that even the teacher has to admit defeat. These moments of unexpected brilliance prove that students sometimes find loopholes, turn logic against their teachers, or simply think faster than the person grading their papers. Here are 10 of the funniest times students outsmarted their teachers. 1. You said no phones in class, but my calculator has internet. One teacher had a strict rule: no phones allowed in class. But one tech-savvy student found a loophole. Instead of using a phone, they brought in a graphing calculator that had Wi-Fi and could browse the internet. When the teacher tried to take it away, the student replied, "But you never said no calculators." The teacher had to admit they hadn't considered that, and the rule was updated the next day. 2. You asked for a 5-page essay? You didn't say it had to be words. A student was assigned a 5-page essay, but instead of writing in full sentences, they found a brilliant way to avoid all that hard work. They filled the pages with large, single letters, one per page, spelling out their answer. When the teacher saw the essay, they had no choice but to say, "Well, technically, you did follow the instructions." 3. You said to show my work, so I drew myself thinking. Math teachers always insist that students show their work to prove they understand the process. One student, who wasn't exactly excited about algebra, took the instruction literally. Instead of solving the equation step by step, they simply drew a picture of themselves thinking really hard. The teacher couldn't help but laugh, while also giving them a 0. 4. The instructions said, answer the question, so I did, with one word. Some test questions are written in a way that gives students an opportunity to bend the rules just a little bit. One student received an exam that said, answer the following questions. Instead of writing full explanations, they simply wrote, yes, under every single question. When the teacher complained, the student responded, well, I did answer the questions. 5. You said no talking, but you didn't say no whispering. A teacher enforced a strict no talking policy during class, but one mischievous student found a way around it. Instead of speaking out loud, they and their friend started whispering extremely quietly. When the teacher scolded them, the student replied, but you never said we couldn't whisper. The rule was changed to, no making sounds at all, the next day. 6. If we're not allowed to eat in class, then why can you? One teacher had a strict rule against eating in the classroom. However, students quickly noticed that the teacher always had a coffee, snacks, or even a full meal at their desk. One bold student finally raised their hand and asked, if we're not allowed to eat, then why can you? The teacher, realizing they had no real argument, responded with the classic, because I'm the teacher. The student shrugged and accepted defeat for now. 7. You never said which chapter to read, so I read the shortest one. A teacher instructed their class to read a chapter from the textbook as homework. One clever student decided to find the shortest chapter possible, which turned out to be the acknowledgments page at the beginning. When the teacher asked why they didn't read a real chapter, the student innocently said, you never told us which one to read. The next assignment was much more specific. 8. You said to write a poem, so I wrote one word that rhymes. A creative writing teacher gave an assignment. Write a poem with at least 2 rhyming lines. One student, not wanting to spend too much effort, wrote 2 words that rhymed and called it a poem. It read. When the teacher questioned their effort, the student simply replied, you didn't say how long it had to be. While they didn't get an A, they definitely won in terms of creativity. 9. You told me to show up on time. You never said I had to stay. A teacher had one main rule. Be on time for class, or you'll get in trouble. One student took the rule very literally. They arrived exactly on time, signed the attendance sheet, and then immediately left the classroom. When the teacher questioned them, they simply said, you only told us to show up. You never said we had to stay. That rule was rewritten very quickly. 10. If you can't answer this, I get an A, right? During a history class, a student wanted to test their teacher's knowledge. They confidently asked a randomly specific question about a historical event that even the teacher didn't know the answer to. The student then smirked and said, well, if you don't know the answer, then I guess I should get an A. The teacher chuckled and replied, nice try, but I still get to grade your test. Teachers might have the authority in the classroom, but students have sharp minds and creative thinking that can sometimes turn the tables. Whether it's bending the rules, finding loopholes, or simply using humor to their advantage, these students won the moment, even if they didn't always win the grade.